Jesus, you are the world to me. Hold me close and never leave. You are my light when I can't see my way. Because of you, I have brighter days. You are the joy that gives me strength to run this race to the very end. If it wasn't for you, I don't know where I would be. You loosed the chains that were holding me, saying I want you to know
Hi everyone and welcome to the Are You Saved Though podcast. This is our second show and tonight we're going to be discussing saved and single.
Yes.
Welcome back, Julian, Michael and myself, Tara.
Should jump into it?
Let's get into it, man. Take center stage, Jay.
Okay, so our first question is, what does it mean to be saved and single? So,
Go ahead.
me first.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I think because I gave this question, so to me, I kind of wanted to express like, what does it look like? Because I know a lot of people. I just feel like we're not kind of relaxed with being single. So many people want to be in a relationship, and I think for me, because I was in a relationship and then I came out. Once I came out of it, I kind of thought, you know what, let me actually embrace being saved and single. And for me, it just, I know it's going to sound really simple, but like you just completely wanting to become so close to God that every area of your life just begins to, you know, have His mark upon it, and really just learning how to depend upon Him. That when you go into, when you preparing for the next relationship, leading into marriage, all the issues or the majority of the issues that needed to be dealt with have been dealt with in that place. So. Yeah,
That place of single.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think it says what it means. Like, I kind of, whenever I think of like the word single, like it means there's purity there. There's, you know, like you're single-minded. Like literally, your focus is completely upon God and just His agenda. And I think that's the time as well that you should find out what your purpose is as well. Like,
And
a lot of us don't do that. So.
And that's going on to kind of being like a whole and full person before you consider joining yourself with another individual. And I think also there's different levels of being single, because if you think of a data collecting form, there's small categories. So there's married, divorced, single. Yeah. But you could be in a relationship with someone and you're still classified as single, right? So I suppose I was looking at I suppose, is it just a clear-cut being single? Or even when, like, for example, you were saying you were in a relationship but it didn't get to the stage of marriage. Was you still single then?
That's really interesting. I've never thought about that. That's a good
question.
So I was just looking at it like that. I mean, in terms of actually being solely single, in the sense of not kind of having late night discussions with a love interest, but it's not actually being anything.
Oh, okay. So that's not courting. That's just flirting then.
No, I wouldn't call it flirting. Perhaps getting to know someone.
Okay, so you're saying you shouldn't do that if you're single?
No, I'm saying I think there's different levels of being single.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry.
And I suppose it's the stages that you get to that end goal. But I mean, because if we think about the way we run things in church, or I suppose everyone has their different ways of running things. But I mean, if we look at, I'm saying like I know for myself, if I'm looking at single, well, no, it's hard, because if I'm single and solely focused on God, I'm not paying attention to man or whatever, then yes, it's single. But at the same time, if I'm getting to know someone, well, at any stage I can pull out of that if I want to. There's still an element of being single to that.
I guess I get what you mean, because obviously when you're thinking about marriage, you're joining onto someone else, and it's the seal.
Yeah,
of
you're
that-
willing to
of
take
that
it to the next
relationship.
level.
So that's,
Well, 1 Corinthians 7 and,
Did you really have to take my scripture?
and 32
I had a
said,
feeling
but my
that was
desire
gonna
is for you. This is the English Standard Version. Actually, no, this is the Bible in basic English. But it is my desire for you to be free from cares. The unmarried man gives his mind to the things of the Lord, how he may give pleasure to the Lord. But the married man gives his attention to the things of the world, how he may give pleasure to his wife. And the wife is not the same as the virgin, and the virgin gives her mind to the things of the Lord, so that she may be holy in body and spirit. But the married woman takes thought for the things of the world, how she may give pleasure to her husband. For me, kind of like you, I wasn't actually coming out of a relationship. Actually, no, I kind of was. When I got saved, I was in a relationship, so to speak. I won't go into the detail now, but yes. And when I was in the world for the previous 6 or 7 years, when I was at the height of my, what I would call champagning and campaigning, I was in various different, I did have one girlfriend, but then after that, I was in various different states of what one might call a relationship, but me in that mode didn't call it relationships. But yeah, I was used to interaction with females on a level that wouldn't be acceptable in the church. And so for me, when I was coming back, one of the first things, like youth, I was thinking of, I need a right relationship with God. There's a singer called John P. Keane, in one of his songs, he said, "You will never love anyone right till you love God right." And I firmly believe that. And as I grow in my relationship with God, I realize not only did I not even have a clue of what love was, I'm still discovering what love is. And the more I love God is the more I understand how I should love a potential partner. And I feel that even now I'm not ready to be married because I'm still discovering what love is, and I'm still discovering what God's love is. And I think when I am ready to be married, I will know, because I will know I've reached that threshold of, I think I understand love enough now for me to be able to allow a woman into my life, but I don't feel like I know God good enough yet to have that distraction. Because like it says, the unmarried man, he cares about how he pleases God. I feel like I have so much more work to do for God before I even think about a relationship. And so for me, that is what putting God first is. I know we always talk about put God first. Everybody says it. Even secular singers, people who we would class as sinners, maybe say, "Oh, put God first." Like, what does that actually mean? For me, in my life, that's meant pursuing my purpose and destiny in God to the exclusion of everything else. And that doesn't mean that He doesn't want me to be married, but I know for this time in my life, it is to pursue Him. Even my friend said to me the other day, he's like, "Oh," I was like to him, "Yeah, I've not even been in a relationship for like how many years now?" He's like, "Yeah, but you have to go through your time of healing." And he's technically not saved, but he understood my past, and he's like, "Yeah, you have to go through your time of healing." And I was like, wow, because that's what I believe. But for him to say that, I was like, that's true. I needed to wipe a lot of my thoughts and ideas away about females and to have a new perspective. Because I said to my friends a couple of years ago, I said, I didn't even look at females as human beings for a long time. They were just things or things. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't. My whole thought process towards women was so wrong. So I feel for me, what does it mean to be saved and single? I think it means to be so focused and so dedicated to your walk with God that a partner is a bonus and not a necessity.
Right, and that follows on nicely because I wanted to go back because I made a statement earlier about being whole.
Yeah.
And that's not to say before you get into a relationship you have to be perfect.
Right.
That's not to say that you're the person you're going to join yourself with can't add anything to you or build you. But I think it's about being comfortable within that. If I have to go the rest of my life single, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's the attitude.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's wishing that they were single, but if you are in the place where,
Yeah.
I think that's when God is like, okay, I can release anything to you. It's like God doesn't mind us having money,
Yeah.
but He also knows that money can destroy us. So it's like some of us, He will never allow us to be rich because he knows as soon as we get some money, we're going to be silly.
Yeah.
I feel like once you are at that stage of maturity where you can handle having a partner and being with God, God will just release it to you. It's not, the Bible says He's not going to withhold anything good from you. So if it's your time to get married, it's your time. I don't think we have to struggle and strive for such things, in my opinion, anyway.
I think that goes back to kind of what I was saying about. I feel like He wants to build that dependency in Him first. He wants us to have that in Him.
Totally agree.
Because a lot of us, I don't know, when I see like people's issues and like even my own issues, it's like man is crying out for connection. So the first thing that you think, I don't know, there's all different types of things that we just join ourselves onto, whether it's things or people. We're always trying to depend on that, and I love what you guys said, like, becoming whole and kind of coming to a place where your relationship with God is like
So tight.
So that if you was to continue in your life without having another partner, it's like, okay, cool, I'm content with that. But
Yeah.
I love what you said, because you said it was like an add-on. It was a blessing to it, and I think that's how we should look at it. So definitely. So let's move on to the next one. So next question is, how do I deal with desiring to be in a relationship whilst being single?
This is tough.
Ooh, who's going first?
How we want to attack this one?
I can attack it.
Go ahead.
So I think it's important to say that a sexual desire towards the opposite sex is a godly desire. He has placed innate desires within us for the opposite sex, but it's what we do with the desire.
Yep.
And so, for example, if I desire a brother, personally, being a female, first of all, I would bring it to God, because I believe that I should be found. I believe that men are hunters, and that I should be chased.
Can I just I just want to emphasize that point. Ladies, wait to be found. The Bible says, whosoever findeth a wife. It doesn't say whosoever findeth a husband. So stop looking and wait to be found. I know you're all going to get upset, but let's just stand on the word. As I said, we're not trying to be politically correct. We're trying to be biblically correct. So all you young maidens and virgins, wait to be found. Just my piece. Anyway, carry on.
Maidens and virgins. Okay, yeah, so I do believe that, and I believe that I should be chased from the man, and if he gives up too quick, well then he's not the man for me. Play hard to get. Again, looking on the flip side of things, that going back to when I said about what do we do with those desires, and if I desire Joe Bloggs, brother Joe Bloggs, and daily I'm thinking on him, and then those thoughts become to be fantasy. Fantasies are no longer satisfying, so that I might find myself logging on the big wide web, start finding Joe Bloggs in a picture, and then
Like Joe Bloggs. Where are we going now?
and then onto a video, and next time I see Joe Bloggs, brother Joe Bloggs, I can no longer visualize him with clothes on.
Wow. So where are we going? What are you saying?
So I think, again, it's about managing your desires, and I think first and foremost in everything you should bring it to God. Fasting is very key, especially when we're dealing with being saved. Like, we have to bring our flesh under subjection. We have to crucify the flesh. There's no greater way than doing that in fasting. And then if I have seen a brother that I'm interested in, then bring it to God. He will bring it to pass. As we said earlier, He will withhold no good thing from you. So, I mean, I've heard many times people say, "Oh, I'm not sure about fasting, about being in a relationship. There's more important things in the grand scheme of things. There's more important things to fast." No, this is the biggest decision you're going to make in your life. Like in your natural life, one of the biggest decisions you're going to make, and it should be covered and saturated in fasting and prayer. And I've heard stories in the past of someone's brought someone to God and then they get confirmation through someone else, from a praying mother or a minister. And likewise, it can work in the other direction. Actually, that person you're pursuing is not for you. So yeah, again, I suppose I'm touching on the depths that desires can go to. Is we're looking at pornography and masturbation, which is self-gratifying and
Worshipping of your own image almost.
yeah, and
That's deep.
yeah. So
But I want to jump onto what you said about bringing it to God. Also, in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. And what a lot of people don't want to do is tell someone else who is a spiritual authority, because they want to fulfill the desire for that person, regardless of what the end may be, because as my dad says, love will turn you stupid. So, you don't really tell someone who you see as a spiritual authority because you kind of know what the answer might be, or you don't want to know the truth. So I would say, not only do you bring it, and this is a serious, desire, because I think there's a difference between lust and love. And I think if you really do love that person, or you think you want to marry that person, you're thinking of taking it beyond, or, it's beyond the physical for you, you definitely have to seek counsel. I mean, why wouldn't you? Like, as Tara said, it's one of the biggest decisions in your life. So why wouldn't you seek counsel from spiritual authorities? It does not make sense. And if you don't do it, you clearly just want to pursue your own will.
I think it's dangerous to do that, because I always remember like this picture. Sorry, there's a gentleman called a man of God called Danny Silk. I'm really kind of influenced by him, and there was one thing that he said like, we should have boundaries, that it's really healthy to have boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries are not walls, because there's still the freedom to obviously go over that. But he's saying God was at the centre, then obviously the person that you're meant to spend, your spouse or your best friend, depending on which stage you're at. And he mentioned that obviously God being at the middle means that he has the greatest influence in your life, and then that next person will obviously be your spouse. So if you're at that place where you're desiring someone, then why not? Why would you not seek God or seek godly counsel to know what to do? Because that person's going to have the greatest influence on your life, because you're so intimate with them. So yeah.
And going on with what you said in terms of boundaries, a wise man once said to me, walk into love because you can walk back out. If you fall in love, that's a whole big hole you have to try and climb out of.
It's true.
So,
It's true.
yeah.
Definitely. I think for me, desiring to be, you guys kind of answered it for me. I would have said the same thing. Like, again, I hate it because I know it sounds so cliche, but it is going back to God and seeking Him. It's like, okay, God, where's this desire coming from? So
Search me, O God, and know my heart.
That is my scripture. Psalms 139. Nah, definitely. It is, because I didn't even actually think about it in the sense of lust when you said it, but it's true. Like, you have to see, okay, God, is this coming from a pure place? Is this something that you want me to go into, so forth and so on, and really kind of search in your heart.
And first of all, you have to ask yourself, why do I want to be with someone?
Exactly.
Like, it's a simple question, but we just think, actually, is it because it's that time of life?
Yeah.
Is it why do I really want to be with someone? Because ultimately, the idea of you both coming together, I mean, my hope is that building God's kingdom, the Bible says that two is better than one because there's a greater reward for their toil. So, but yeah, if I just want one because I am satisfying the flesh, or because that's what everyone else has, or what is the actual reason for you? Because if it's those kind of fleshly things, then it's not going to produce the right fruit.
I think this rolls into the other question you had, which is, how do I deal with being single in church or having been in a relationship in the world? And I think the same principles apply in that. What is the reason? And one of the things I always am careful of with myself, I'm always asking myself, do I want to be married, or do I want a partner just for the sake of fulfilling the lust of the flesh? Is it just so that I can have sex because that's what I was doing a couple of years ago? So I'm always questioning, what is the reason? And if I ever feel that it's just to have someone to be physical with, I'm like, that's not good enough reason. I know Paul said, you know, it's better to marry than to burn, but I don't think that's a good enough reason to be married. Because if that's the reason why I'm being married, I'm gonna find another person to fulfill that lust with, because it's just lust at the end of the day. And so for me, I'm always careful, and I'm always asking myself, why would I want a partner? If I ever get that desire, what do you want a partner for?
Because if lust is in your heart, it can never be quenched. So you
Right.
may be able to find something to satisfy it for a while,
Right.
but if you've not purified your heart, then
Yeah.
you eventually, that's only going to last.
Right.
So like that woman or that man is only going to last like a couple of months
Right.
in the terms of being new and kind of satisfying that, and then you just find yourself going back into old habits.
And the spirit of lust is it is a degrading spirit, and so once you've fulfilled one level, it takes you to another level.
Yeah.
Lust is lust, whether you lust after the opposite sex or the same sex. It's all lust, and if you notice, it is a degrading thing. If you talk to anyone who's real, they will tell you that lust is progressive. There will be a little bit there, and then it's worse, and then it's worse, and then it's worse, and that's why if you look at the pattern of some paedophiles and stuff like that, they started on a certain type of porn, and then they've gone to this level of porn, and then that wasn't enough, so they went to that level of porn, and then they So lust is very deceptive, and it's degrading. And like I said, if lust is the reason you want someone, do you know what? You won't even be happy with them after a while, because lust is something that loves variety. So you're going to want something different. You're going to want someone a bit thicker or something a bit thinner. And so you have to be, lust always wants, and always wants more. And so you have to be very careful on your motive. What is the spirit behind it?
I think it feels like I'm repeating myself, but it goes back to what we said about the first question, like coming to a place of wholeness, because then you know that when it's time to get into a relationship, you've dealt with those issues of kind of trying to fill that void in your heart with other things, and you know God's at the center of your heart. So I think it should just happen naturally, really, to be honest.
Allow it to be organic.
Yeah.
I believe that also. I believe if you're pursuing God and He really is the first in your life, the Bible says He will not withhold anything good from you. Do we actually believe the word? One man called Leonard Ravenhill said one day someone's going to pick up the Bible and believe it. And like make a real difference in the world. Basically we're saying we don't really believe the word. Because if we don't believe He's going to withhold anything good from us, and we do believe that if we put God first and His kingdom, you know, and all things shall be added, then it will happen. But we lack patience as human beings. And I'm not talking from a position of, that I'm better and I have the biggest patience. I'm just saying it. We all lack it. And so we all have to go back to the word and just let it happen organically.
And because it's also a natural desire.
Yeah.
Like, even like a woman's body, like what she goes through monthly, like it's all a process, like it's all almost animal-like. Like they're innate feelings that you cannot get rid of. But again, it's just how you manage them.
Yeah.
I know there's probably loads of females at a certain time in the month, like their dreams start going wild, right? But it's what do? Do you can't wait to go back to bed tonight to get those dreams? Or is it like, actually, no, Lord, like you got to calm that down and kind of balance me out.
Yeah, and let me clarify what I said before. I wasn't saying that woman shouldn't desire to be a wife or a mother, because that's what God has put in you. That's your creation role. At the end of the day, ultimately,
Creation roles. We're going
Shout out
there.
to G. Craig Lewis. Like that's what you were born to be, a mother and a wife above anything. I don't care how much Beyonce wants to gas your heads up. That's your main thing, is to be a mother and a wife and a helpmeet to a man. Yeah, I said it. A helpmeet. Right? But anyway, we're not even going to get into that today. But that desire is natural. But I'm saying, wait to be found. Eve didn't come and pick Adam. God made Adam think. The Bible said the man was made for the woman. So the woman was made for the man. Man was not made for the woman. You get that right. So what does that mean? Like, think about it. I am going to get into that today because, we're going to get into that another day.
Oh, sorry. Well, can I? I feel like I'm backpedaling. But like, I love I think it's Miles Monroe. What did he say? He said like before Eve came, like Adam knew his purpose and he was in his purpose, so like he was functioning in it. And I think that's
right.
that's when you know that. Oh no, stop.
He named the animals. He looked after the garden. He weren't sitting down. Adam had a job and was working when his wife came. So if you
Mike
just want to
is
follow the
here.
word, I'm just saying. I don't know how.
Let the guy breathe.
Can't hold it. No. So, yeah, like that's like so. If you're in that place and you're desiring a relationship, then again, yeah, you need to be led by the Spirit.
And what I like about that is that if we are going back to that the man will pursue the woman and that the woman's to be found, I think when a man is fully functioning in his purpose, then he realizes, actually, I need a woman to go that bit further.
And I know
Because
what
she
I want,
brings-
and I know what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So when I see her, that will be the one.
Yeah, and if men are in their real positions, then any woman could be. I mean, obviously we have to go with the whole personality match and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, any woman should be confident and comfortable to say, actually, he's a man of God, and I'm willing to put my trust in him and be led of him. So
You said man of God, and I want to touch on that. And I think a lot of problem our sisters have today is that they desire ungodly men, which forces them to do ungodly things. They get implants, their face is caked in makeup, they've got all different types of hair that doesn't belong to them in their head, trying to please a man who's not even godly. Because think about it, can you make yourself more beautiful to God?
no, because we were made in his likeness and image.
Right. So the only way you can make yourself more beautiful is to be like him. You can't add anything to yourself physically to make yourself beautiful to God. So if you want a godly man who loves you like God, he shouldn't need you to have fake hair. He shouldn't need you to have implants, because he should love you. Because he should love you the way you are, because that's how God loves you. So when women are seeking ungodly men, they do ungodly things that take you out the image of God. Because think about this, God is not insecure. God is perfect, right? And he made us perfect.
But I don't think that every girl does that. Obviously,
I'm saying some. I'm not speaking to everyone. I'm just saying some. And so when you seek ungodly men, right, when you do things to get ungodly men, you have what we have today, a lot of divorce, a lot of bad relationships. But when you find a man of God who loves you for your personality and your mind, because that is what God is looking for. When it says in his image and his likeness, it's not our nose, it's not our ears, it's the confidence that we are his. It's the mind to know that I am wonderfully and fearfully made. I don't need to add anything to myself to please God or to please a man, because that man's supposed to love me how God loves me. Like I said, you can't make yourself more beautiful to God. You adding implants don't make you prettier to God. In fact, you're taking yourself out of his image. Because his image he made you in was a confident, strong, I am who I am. I know my purpose. So why are you changing yourself? So you've got to think, if you have to change your physical appearance for a man, that's not the man for you. Man of God loves you the way you are. He's loving you for what you are made to be. I mean, we're all individual. We all have our own fingerprints. So he's loving you for your individual DNA stamp of what God has made you for him. If you have to go into the plastic surgeon to make yourself for that man's not for you. Because he's loving your DNA. He's not supposed to be loving just your body.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that's where people mess up. That's where women sometimes get themselves in trouble, because they're trying to create a version of themselves for an ungodly man, whereas a godly man comes and sees you and he says, that's who I need, because she's going to make me what I need to be.
But I feel like nowadays as well, a lot of... Because, sorry, I just have to kind of like balance it out. I feel like today, though, in society,
Yeah.
and just popular culture, as I like to say, like, women is hard, I think. Not saying... I'm not justifying all that stuff and that, but for one, like, men are being flooded, like, with so many images of, like, just sexual
Of what
things.
is supposed to be pretty.
Yeah, so, and then that makes women insecure, and it also makes them look at it like, okay, what is that what I'm meant to
Look
be?
like.
And then, and especially when, I don't know, you're just, you're growing in your relationship with God, and maybe, you're not at that place where you've started to deal with those issues, or he's taking you through that, like, you're still going through that stage, so I can see why they do it, and it's not justifying that.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't. It's not good that they
Right,
do
so
that,
let's
but-
stop bashing women.
No, I understand why they do it.
Actually-
I'm saying stop.
Yeah.
Just don't do it. Don't feel the pressure.
So I have a question, kind of rolling into this. If you go to a lot of churches, there is always a shortage of men there is a larger percentage of women in churches. I mean, is it the same for kind of...
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no, it's-
and so I suppose a question I have, I'll get you guys to answer it first, is should there be more responsibility on the church or the elders and the ministers to help with the matchmaking side of relationships? Now, I'm not talking arranged marriage in the sense of you don't know who the person is, but should there be a responsibility for the church to network, to know what's in other churches? And if I come to
Check
you
out the stuff.
at 35 years old and I'm like, okay, I'm really ready to get married now, and I have been faithful, I've been doing everything we've spoke about, being whole today, and I go to my minister and say I'm ready to get married now, should there be a responsibility for them to kind of just point me in the right direction, or play Cupid,
I would.
network?
I don't think that's necessarily. It depends on the context and how they go about it, because I feel like whatever we do has to be spirit led. So, as long as God is involved in that whole process, then that's fair enough. But ideally, it again going back to what I said, it should happen naturally. I know it's easier said than done, because obviously, I'm not a woman, so I don't know how that looks like a war.
Yeah,
You know,
because
how that
like
feels.
we're in church and we're like, there's a ratio of 5 women to 1
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
1 man, sorry.
Mm.
So it's kind of like sometimes it can be worrying.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
but we know that there is not, in the whole of the kingdom, there's not a shortage of men. I believe somewhere it is balanced. But I do believe that there should be an element of responsibility for at least networking.
Okay, yeah.
If
I think so.
and if there is, someone, that they could potentially pair you up with. And obviously the process would have to be natural. They would kind of just give him a hint and just kind of wink in a certain, But again, and then going back to what you had said, I can see Michael itching over there.
I was just going to respond to the question. I thought we were both supposed to. But if you don't want me to talk anymore,
just wait.
I'll just keep quiet.
Oh, man.
And so, but just before he answers,
Yes.
I want to say, because you mentioned spiritual, and as long as we're keeping in line with the spirit, right?
Yeah.
But how much of marriage is spirit and then just natural?
God. How's he supposed to answer that?
I would kind of say it's if this is answering the question, I always see our relationship with God as a partnership. So I don't know how I'm going to explain this, but no.
But that's what I'm saying, is marriage just like this natural man and woman come together, they procreate, and don't get me wrong, like you have a purpose together and you can fulfill, but how much of it is a spiritual decision?
I think the decision has spiritual consequences.
Okay.
As in it being a spiritual decision, I think it's a choice.
What do you mean by a spiritual
Yeah.
decision?
Because I'm saying, like, to me, all right, so this is my opinion is that me choosing to be with a man is a very natural thing, or desiring or wanting to be. I don't place a lot of spiritual emphasis on it.
What, on your choice?
Yeah, and the whole of it.
But then
Right.
you just said before that's kind of contradictory, because you just said before it's one of the biggest decisions you make, so you should bring it to God.
Yeah, but you seek God,
Yeah.
and obviously our relationship with God is obviously through the Spirit. But I'm saying, like, in terms of, to me, I feel that sometimes, being with someone is just such a natural thing. Like, what is...
I think it is spiritual because we're spirits.
Two become one.
And like that. Remember what we said about influence. So that person's going to affect you spiritually, like in your soul, your body, everything. So, and you two coming together. Yeah, you two coming together as one. Like it's something happens spiritually. So, I think it's important that element. Yeah, I would say it's
The woman was made for influence, right? So it has to have some spiritual element, because
Definitely.
if I'm going to fulfill my purpose, I don't believe God didn't know who I should be married to. Therefore, the spiritual element is there because she has to be influencing me in the right way.
that's the point I'm getting at then, okay? Because obviously, like I said, you would fast about it. I'm not saying it's completely separate from the Spirit. But what did you just say? Oh my gosh, what did you just say?
It just said that she's made for influence.
No, after that.
Are you just trying to relate it back to the whole? Are you trying to say that is there an element of being proactive about it? Because that's what it kind of implied when you said the whole matchmaking kind of thing.
I feel like God's involved in every stage.
Yeah.
I feel like we try to make out like, oh, you know, there's a natural element to it. Yes, but if God is the center of your life and you go to Him for everything, then He's a part of every decision. And like I said, I don't believe I never understand this when people are like, oh, it's your decision. Yes, it is, and God doesn't mess around with your will. Ultimately, it's your will.
So that's what I'm getting at.
Before the beginning of the world, the foundations, He had planned our lives out. How are you trying to say if the two are becoming one flesh that the woman we were supposed to be with wasn't a part of that? Now we might somehow mess up in our lives and miss the first woman, but grace will cover us, and maybe God has another woman that can fulfill, that can help us fulfill our purpose. I don't believe there's necessarily one woman. I think maybe
That's a whole nother.
I think if we understand grace, then we understand that, when you mess up time, you mess up purpose, right?
Yeah.
And so if you've messed up some time, you probably missed your purpose for that woman. But now grace is covering you, and God has provided you with another potential partner who can help you to fulfill your purpose. So, do you know what I mean? So I do feel that God has to be involved in the decision, because if the two are becoming one flesh and women are made for influence, then you have to have the right woman, and God has the woman for you.
But ultimately, then the decision is for you to say whether you want to go with that the right woman or not.
Right. I've always said for the last couple of years, I'm probably not going to get married. But I've always said, if God offers me a gift, who am I to turn it down?
Or do you desire to have children?
Not really. But I've said if God offers me a gift, I would be a fool to say no, because that gift is to unlock my purpose. Okay. So if I then turn down that present from God and say I ain't going to marry a woman, which I can, and I don't believe if I say no, that necessarily means I'm going to go to hell, but I am destroying some purpose. Because if He's giving me a gift and I'm saying no, I'm not unlocking certain parts of my life that are supposed to be unlocked. It's like in a game. I'm not unlocking certain levels. And so I might only be able to stay on one level if I don't unlock that part of the game. So yeah.
And sorry, it's just because it's one of those things that I've even thought about. Like, do you not then fulfill your purpose fully?
Like I said, in the Bible, it talks about time and purpose, and I like I said before, if you waste time, you waste purpose, and that's why I think wasting time is one of the biggest sins. But remember, there's always grace, and it's like a straight line. God has a straight line plan for your life. We are always going off course, but if we confess our sins, He's faithful to forgive, and He gets us back online. Okay. However, if you waste time, you waste purpose. You can't ever get some things back. There's some things that you could just never get back, which means you missed out on some destinies. But grace is always providing you a way back to God, but not necessarily a way back to the things that you have lost. You cannot regain time, and you cannot always regain the purpose. So in all the years that I was sinning, there are people who maybe you could have been saved under my ministry that I didn't save. I'm going to have to answer for that. But God's grace is covering me and allowing me to redeem the time. Okay. But you waste time, you waste purpose. So I do believe there's some destiny that you don't get to fulfill because you wasted your time.
Okay.
So it's as much as it is a natural desire that you have for someone, it's also a very spiritual element in the sense that we're seeking God's.
If you understand the roles of women and men, then you understand that the destinies are linked and the purposes are linked, and your destiny and purpose is intertwined with someone else.
So then what if someone makes a wrong decision?
Then you destroy destiny and purpose. However, God's grace is even able to even cover you if you make that wrong decision.
Okay, and we see that happening anyway, so... wait, so then Michael, answer the question then. What's your opinion? Should the church have more responsibility to help find spouse?
I think what you're saying is a good idea. I think, if
it's not forced.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, as long as it's still you still allow the element of it being organic. Why can't you suggest someone? I think that's great. Like, I know this brother and he's a strong man in the Lord, and or I know this sister and she's been faithful. Why don't you two talk? It's no pressure. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And I think the church should take a more active role in doing that. And I know, like UPC, they do a lot of like intermingling events of the different sexes, and I think as long as the people involved who are administrating it are godly and spirit led, I don't see the harm.
And I think it can help avoid heartache, because a sister may find herself going through every brother in church until she finds the prince.
Could you imagine? God forbid that happens to anyone.
So, but it could help
Yeah.
to avoid certain issues like that. And again, going back to what the thing the question I don't think we've really answered yet in terms of can saved people date.
That's a new question.
Marry, is it
We haven't even tried to
Oh,
answer
I
that.
thought we
That
were
was my podcast ender. Can saved people date or marry unsaved people? Jay, hit me.
It's not that deep for me. I forgot what scripture it is, but
Be not unequally with unbelievers. For what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion have light with darkness. But do you see it that way? Because many churches may interpret it the same way now.
no, I'd never advise someone not to, because again, it's the whole influence thing. Like, and the fact that you have to, how can two walk together if they don't agree? So it doesn't make sense. But I do.
But many still do.
Yeah, no,
So then
exactly.
But that goes
Exactly.
deeper
Who's
for
agreeing
me.
with who?
And that goes deeper for me, because I believe that even extends to, like, me and you
Yeah,
are
no, it
saved
does.
and we have a relationship
Yeah.
with God.
Mhm.
But if we're not, like, kind of on the
Mhm.
same path and believing the same things, then that's
So
still
even if
not
you're
equal.
saved, but you're on a different spiritual level to
I
someone
don't-
else,
I
saying
just
you don't
don't-
think you should marry them.
I don't see. I've come out of the world. I've sacrificed and lived my life unto God. Why do I need to be looking where I've come from? I'm preaching. I've come from there. I don't want to go back there. No turning back. No turning back. And I'm singing these songs. And then the first place I want to go look for a man is he's not saved. Like we're not the same worlds no more. It says we're a royalty. We're a priesthood. We're different caliber. Like I'm living above that. Why would I want anything from the world that I've walked out on?
But many people find themselves in that situation. So what could cause that?
Not having a relationship with God, but you've not fully entered
But what if
in.
that person,
You've
they
not
say
entered
they
into
pray,
the
they
fullness.
fast, they speak in tongues, they do everything.
Try again.
Oh my god.
Oh no. So you're saying that okay, sorry, go ahead.
But isn't there a scripture that talks about something like I can't believe I can't remember. I think it's in 1 Corinthians. It talks about, I'm gonna obviously be paraphrasing, but basically, if you guys don't mind being together, and if you enjoy each other's kind of company, it kind of speaks to something like that. I forgot where it is.
Isn't that the scripture that you took from earlier? Because isn't that relating to married people though? That if you're married and he's unsaved.
I think they're married.
Oh, it's
but
talking
they're
about
still-
if you're saved and your partner's not saved,
Yeah.
then you're not bound to stay with them. However,
yeah.
well, that's different, I guess. I mean, if you get saved and your partner's still unsaved, then I think what Paul was saying, then you can, you're not bound to stay with them, but if you want to stay with them, then that's fine. You're not going to be condemned if you do. You're not going to be condemned if you don't. But that's different, I think.
Okay.
I think if you're coming into if you've been saved and then your partner's not saved, I think that's a wholly different story, because you might have children together, your history together might be, I think it's an individual basis. So if say you've got saved and you're with someone but you're not married,
Yeah.
if they're not getting saved, drop them.
Okay, yeah, because that was going to be my next question, because I know some people, they've been with someone who's unsaved and they're saved, and then that person gets saved.
Yeah.
If you're married, then
But what happens?
I think if you're not married.
Oh no, but that even
But
happens
then that
before
has
they
to
get
be
married.
that's kind of a personal opinion, because if someone's been in a 7-year relationship, they're practically married. Okay, they haven't made the vows and stuff, but
Right.
they're committed to each other.
Yeah.
7-10 year relationship. One now gets saved. Do you just say like, okay, just drop this, or do you get married? See, I think that situation is different to someone that is saved, she's sanctified,
Oh, yeah,
she's
no, it's
Holy
different,
Ghost
it's
filled,
different,
and then she's looking
It's
out to
different.
the
No, it is
world
different.
to,
It is
or
different.
the other
But
way
then
around.
again, if you're that person who's in church and has been saved and whatever, you could say, but that person just got saved, and you're allowing them to get married to that person who is unsaved. That's kind of hypocritical. I don't know. I think you know, if they've got children and you know they are practically married, then you marry that person. But if that person doesn't want to be married to you, you can't be saved and be living and shacking up, as people would say. But I think you have to speak to elders. I'm not a bishop. I'm not a pastor. I think you would need some counsel.
That's
on
what I was
that
going
one.
to say. Yeah,
You get some counsel on that one.
It's
Because
difficult
10
because
years
it's
is
all
like,
relative to that
and 10 years
situation.
is a long time. Even if you've had no children, that's someone you've joined yourself with for 10 years and you've
Yeah.
respected. So
I would say you seek God and speak to your elders on that one. But yeah, if you are in church and you're
Yeah,
fishing in
and-
the world for men or women,
I would never advise someone to do that because it just, again, it doesn't really make sense.
No, I don't get it. Because I don't see what you see in someone if they don't love God. That's for me now. It's like, it doesn't matter how I'm attracted to someone. If you don't love God, I can't really love you how I want to, because we can't have that deeper relationship.
Yeah.
We can't talk. But it's like, you know, if I can talk to you about God, my relationship with you will be closer than any family member. Because we share a heavenly bond. We share a bond that goes beyond our blood. We share a bond of Jesus' blood, which unless you have fully understood the death, burial, resurrection, been born again, you can't figure out what that connection is.
Well, he's going to be a part of. He should be a part of every part of our lives.
yeah.
So, if the other person doesn't have that same interest or
And I would say
same
that
influence, then
it's
not going to work.
I would say that it is a heart issue, and
Mm,
if you are looking back to where you've come from, then what
Check your
are you
motives.
saying about God? Yeah, and check your motives, because
The only other thing I would say is just be led. I know it's cliche,
But
but
some people say their spirit's leading them and it's leading them into foolishness, so you have to be careful when you say
So would you say that then there's never a case that someone has been pursued? For example, if we're looking at a woman's... No, let's go to men. You find a woman out in the world that you like, and you are led that, you know, you're going to be the vessel that's going to bring her to the Lord, and God's going to do
that's
great
what I was
things.
going to say. If it's in that way, but then I feel like you'd have to also have that conversation with that person as well, not in the sense of them. You know,
And then
like,
you would
okay,
marry
I'm
them
gonna get
after
saved,
they got
like,
saved. You wouldn't be married them
what's-
while they were still in the world, like,
Yeah.
and then try to save them.
That's true. I guess you have to see that something actively. No, God is present in their life after that moment. So.
I believe they would have to actually be baptized and repented and saved before I'm like.
Yeah, like come on.
Otherwise, that's like I'm just gonna go into the world, pick a girl that I like, and she's gonna be
let's
saved.
party.
And then 5 years later, she's like, "Nah, I was never on that. I was on you, but you're God. I'm not really, trying to do that."
That's true.
But let's hit the last question, and that is, what advice do you have for single people?
Can I go?
Yeah,
Yeah,
is this the 3 words? We've just got 3 words.
Yeah. Free will.
I'm gonna break that, but anyway.
Actually,
Actually, no, I'm not gonna break it. I won't break it. I won't break it, but I will speak longer. But anyway, go on.
Okay.
Master your singleness. That's
Are you serious?
That's my. No, it's true because I don't know. I was listening to one of my friends, and he's just talking about like when he got in a relationship and they just brought issues into a relationship and that's why it didn't work. And I was just thinking, wow, like it'd be so much better if we just mastered our singleness first and then went into that. So that would be my advice. Like focus on God.
So that whole being
Focus
whole
on your
thing
issue.
before you
Yeah,
can
like-
be joined to someone else.
Because I
You
feel like.
created that whole question. Just
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
He wanted to drop those.
I
bars.
didn't. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, because I feel like I don't know, this period in my life now, like I'm enjoying my singleness so much because I'm discovering who God has called me to be and just discovering things about myself and about Him, and I'm enjoying that intimate place. And I feel like if everyone could have that same mindset of, okay, let me actually pursue my relationship with God. Let me actually go after Him. Let me deal with the issues of my heart.
And I think men probably find that more attractive when a woman's doing that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing worse when a woman has a sour face. She's not really even looking like she's enjoying her salvation because she's just so fixed and focused on, maybe getting married and doing those things that she desires. But, yeah. Okay, well, my 3 are fast, enjoy, and live.
That's not 3 words.
No, there are 3 words, but
The
I think
and.
he meant.
See?
Okay, is that what he meant? Oh my god.
Sorry, explain. Explain.
Do we need to explain? I thought these were just
Okay,
like three-
okay.
Well, I
So
think
yours
I've
is
explained.
fast, enjoy, live.
I
Yeah.
think the important thing, fasting is twofold if they stop laughing. Fasting to keep yourself safe and single, but fasting to go on to the next stage if you want to be with someone.
Yeah.
Enjoy. You have to enjoy. When you enjoy something, it will make it so much more easier. And live, just live and explore things, go places, and live.
So you're saying enjoy life and seek God till you get to the next level and let it happen. Jay, you were saying that if you're miserable, don't go and marry someone, make someone else miserable. Make sure you're happy first so you can make someone else happy.
Well, deal with your issues.
Yeah, deal with it. Deal with yourself.
Master your singleness, please.
Mine is seek God first. Amplified version, Matthew 6:33. But seek, aim, and strive after, first of all, His kingdom and His righteousness, His way of doing and being right, and then all these things taken together will be given you besides. So do not worry or be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will have its worries and anxieties of its own. Sufficient for each day is its own trouble. So the practicalities of seeking God first is really to, as it says, seeking His striving after His kingdom and His righteousness and His way of doing and being right. And all the things that people are robbing for, are killing for, are going crazy for, all these things are going to be given to you as a bonus. Like everything that the world wants, we get as a standard basic bonus if we just seek God and His righteousness first. So for me, if we really are just trying to love God and get to know Him, everything that we need will be given unto us. The Bible says the Gentiles pray for money and for food. We don't have to do that. Do we understand who God that is? He doesn't withhold things that are good from us. So seek God first, and the practicalities of that are just focusing on Him and allowing everything that He will, He's promised you to come, and not to run after natural things.
And I think a beautiful scripture to kind of end that as well is wait upon the Lord and He will renew your strength.
Amen.
Oh, that's jam-packed.
And here endeth the story of the second Are You Saved Though podcast. Not sure what the next topic will be, but we will be back soon. Good night. God bless. We've got prayer meeting in the morning. See ya.
Bye.
If it wasn't for you, I don't know where I would be. You is the chains that were holding me. You said I want you to know you are everything to me.